to in fact ensure our neighborhoods that were adjacent to our one. I do want to, because it was mentioned, talk a little bit about the billboards, because this has been a, for me and for Jack Weiss, both of us have kind of challenged some of the agreements that were made that we were not necessarily told about in great detail. I just want you to know that we've asked on whether or not the billboard settlement is superseded by the specific plan. So the specific plan, we have been told, actually trumps any settlement. That's the good news. Okay. The bad news is that in our discussions with the city attorney's office, and we've told them we disagree with this position, that they believe that if, and I want to just get this right because it says that the message changing once every 4 seconds does not constitute blinking or flashing. Now, I don't know about you. 1, 2, 3, 4, blink. Okay, to me it's flashing. Okay, so we're going to challenge that. And I spoke to Jack Weiss earlier this evening, and we are going to ask the city attorney. Stephen Bluff has done a great job on some of the issues we recently were fighting with the billboard companies. But I believe, how many of you believe 4 seconds is flashing? Okay, flashing. All right. So I just wanted you to know that. I know there are several questions that people are going to have, but what I want to just tell you is that every day, as we are in City Council and we sat through budget, the meat and potatoes of what we should be doing as a City Council is providing the services that are so critically important. And the second message is that your voices are heard. We had hundreds of emails on libraries, on our park rangers, on saving LA 36, I mean, you name it. And we sat there as we were, with our computers, as someone else would ask a question, we'd kind of look at our computers and they'd pop up and they'd pop up. The constituency and what you say, and even if we don't always agree on everything, is critically important. And Soha has been one of those voices that is always standing up. And we have a good time, often working together to solve a problem, or disagreeing and saying, how do we work out this disagreement, and how do we do something together, or working on challenging the bureaucracy together, which is very important. But we cannot, as elected officials, do this job alone. You are our eyes and ears out there. You are the people who see when there's been a couch put out on the corner. You are the people who see when there's been graffiti put on the corner. You are the people who see that if there is a house that has been built or a development that has been built, i.e. Best Buy, you're looking every day as you're driving by that to say, you know what, it doesn't meet the conditions that we fought so hard for. You are that part of this partnership with the City of Los Angeles. And some of the people who make that partnership very special for me are the people in my office. And I just want to acknowledge some of you know, I guess all of you probably know, but you don't get to see her very often, my chief of staff, Claire Bartels. Claire, wave your hand. Lexi, who you get to see all the time, Lexi Richards, and of course Gail Thrush, and Pat Davenport. But I just always enjoy coming to Soha. I missed the food though tonight, okay? I missed the food. So I actually, tonight, Valley Presbyterian Hospital was honoring David Fleming, and so I went by to present him with the proclamation, and I saw Ray Vega there. And he looked at me and he goes, aren't you at Soha tonight? And I said, yes, I'm going there. And so I said, aren't you at Soha tonight? And he said, well, my daughter's there. I said, okay, well, she did a good job. But it's always a pleasure to be here and to see so many of you in this room and activists. And it was just a few weeks ago where we were, where did we go? Sorry, where we were doing planting and taking up all of the trash that was there on the Super Sunday, which was a great time in which we could get together and make our community better. And that's the best thing about being a city council member. So thank you all very much for having me, and I look forward to your questions.
All right. First of all, if I don't get to your questions, because there's a lot of questions tonight, it's not because I didn't love your question. Or it might have been because the question wasn't for the council person, it was for another officer, which we'll absolutely get to. For those of you folks who are leaving because you want to hear the Lakers score, when I was outside, because I can't hear the development stuff that Wendy so nicely just filled me in on most of it. The score was 49 to 64 in the in the third period, third quarter.
We were losing.
I'm not going to tell you that. You guys are rooted. You guys are getting one little team going. All right.
Can I say one thing before we do that really quick? Mansionization, I just want to add, we did pass in the city council. There were a lot of people who were, I'd say, forces against it. We had the first mansionization ordinance in my district in Sunland, Tahunga a few years ago, and I was shocked at how much national attention I received for this mansionization ordinance. And this was an area where they were building 4,000 square foot homes on 4,000 square foot lots, which was really frightening. And it took us, it took a year to draft that specifically, and I think, as was mentioned, one size does not fit all. And I remember all of my colleagues sitting there saying, we want one in our district, we want one, and all of my community, same thing, we want one in my district. Well, each community is different. The planning department decided, and I agree with them on this, it would have been hard, to quickly do 35 of them would take them a long time. And so it was better to start with a basis and a foundation, and then allow there to be so-called overlay zones and where there's community input on that. And so we look forward to working with Soha as you look at some of the issues that may be unique to Chinook.
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that because that was the only question that you didn't cover, Wendy. And now I don't have any questions. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Just kidding. Also, if your question doesn't get asked here, Wendy is planning on staying here until she's finished answering every question. Okay, so the last subject the last subject that you were talking about before the last one, before that, was about the billboards. And Mark Warshing asks, can we stop some of the chatter in the back so that we can hear what the questions are? Okay. He goes into a whole bunch about some of the V-shaped billboards that they're starting to use along Santa Monica Freeway. And his question is, will the city council ever get tough with the billboard companies and uphold the public good? The billboard companies are a classic special interest.
Well, I am not a fan of billboards. I felt very strongly when they came with the first, I don't know how much you know the history of this issue, but long story short, we found in the city of Los Angeles there were a number of billboards that never had a permit in the city, to the tune, I think, of hundreds of them. And so we decided to create a fee. And a fee would be allow our inspectors to go out and literally catalog all of the billboards and those that were illegal that we could take down. We were sued by the billboard companies. And as part of the mediation or the settlement, the city attorney and the billboard companies came forward with a number of items. Some of which we received initially when we adopted that settlement. Some, when it came back again, which were a lot of things that we did, in all honesty, and Jack and I were talking about this today, had not been outlined to us and concerns. We have been one of those standing out there saying we do not think that there should be, number one, any new billboards, that we do not believe that they should be flashing on Ventura Boulevard, and that we want to limit the number of billboards. And so I just want to tell you that I agree with Soha on that. We're going to do what we can, and if there are challenges to the settlement, we will work through that as well.
Okay. There are quite a few questions on this subject, two of which are from Jerry Vandy Sandy and Janet Couples about Buckley School. Do you have a comment on the massive expansion they're planning? Do you have a dialogue with Jack Weiss on this matter? Why would a Buckley parent want to expand the school when you consider that there are only two exits, Stansbury and Community La Cumbre? I'm extremely, in an emergency, either a fire or earthquake, Community La Cumbre would be unusable. And for those who remember the 1994 earthquake, the condo dwellers near Ventura caused huge traffic jams.
And I do not know all the details about Buckley because it's not in my district. I can tell you, I have several private schools in my district. I have Oakwood